Given the recent outbreak, our federal government has to work with various different medical facilities to distribute needed resources. These needed resources could be personal protective equipment like PPEs, it could be masks, it could be water, food supplies, it could be vaccines, it could be needles, things like that. This is a horrendous task. There's a lot of needed facilities, these supplies need to distribute to them. You are a software engineer working for this logistic company, write a resource. What does a logistic company do? They distribute stuff, making use of their vans and trucks. They also have software engineers on site. You are working on a software solution to enable even distribution of resources to the correct set of medical facilities. Resources are a collection of these items that we were talking about earlier. Your job is to write a solution method. This solution method sits inside the solution class. This method takes two parameters. The first one is an array of resources. This is an integer array of resources. The second one is the number of groups or medical facilities. The method returns either true or false. What does this do? This can distribute, capital D, returns whether it is possible or not that a given set of resources could be evenly distributed or divided into k equals some facilities. Let's take a look at what this means using the example without getting into too much details here. Looking at this example, you have these resources. Now, for the purpose of illustration, let's just say these resources are masks. You have a box of 3 masks. You have another box of 4 masks. You have another box with 5 masks in there, and another box with 6 masks. So remember, this is the two arguments we're pushing into can distribute methods. The first one is a integer array, and second one is the number that you have to distribute them to. The second one is the medical facility. The first one is resource masses. And the answer is yes, because you can regroup your resources into this 3 and 6 and 4 and 5. And notice that we're talking about k equals sum. Equal sum as in the same number of resources distributed equally into the respective 2 medical facilities. What is 3 and 6? 3 and 6 is a total of 9. There's 9 masks, and there's also 9 masks. So the answer is yes, you can, given these resources as already packaged, by rearranging them, you are able to distribute them equally. Each facility gets 9. If you only have one box, like one mask and one medical distribution, can you equally distribute it? The answer is yes, right? Because that medical facility gets 1. Let's say if you only have one resource and you want to distribute 1, the answer is 1. Let's say if you have these resources in the collections, can you distribute this to 5 different facilities? And the answer is yes, because what we're looking at is 3, 2, which is 5, 4, 1, which is 5, 5 is 5, 2, 3 is 5, 1, 3, 1 is 5. They're basically coming off of this, and there is no insertion of resources and recounting them. So that's just making sure that we're not duplicating any items. 4, 1 is coming from here, and you have 5 coming from here. 2 and 3 goes into this group. This goes into medical facility 1, facility 2, facility 3, facility 4, and then facility 5. 1, 3, 1 goes in here. What else is left? 3 and 2, right? This 3 is from here. This 2 is right here. This one goes into the first group. So it looks like, given these resources, they can be evenly distributed into 5 medical facilities. So the answer is true. Your use case is going to be a lot more complicated than this. If you have one medical resource, and can you distribute it to 4 different medical facilities? The answer is false, right? For very obvious reason, you can't do that. Now, when I say this is going to be a little more complicated than this, these are your assumptions. The number of resources has to be at least 1, meaning resource cannot be empty, so is medical facility. They need to be at least 1, greater than 0, less than 1,000. You can have a use case with maybe 150 resources, and medical facilities could be 78, something big like that. Your solution returns either true or false. If the resources cannot be evenly distributed, then it's false. True otherwise, This is actually a recursion problem. When I say recursion, as we went through, is a top-down approach. You can actually turn this into a bottom-up approach. Bottom-up is iterations. I don't want you to do iterations here. I want you to do recursion. If I don't see recursions in your solutions, you receive 50% points off. I wanted to help you and make sure that you understand how recursion could be worked into the solution. I'm providing you with a pseudocode. This is the pseudocode, literally verbatim translation of what the solutions that I put together. Within this pseudocode, there are several ways you can implement this, meaning it's the same base case, but different recursive setup in terms of initialization. Your recursion might be a little different than your neighbor's recursion. Depends on the condition that they set forth and how recursion starts. So do not worry about that your recursion being a little different than your neighbor's. This is not a prescription, but a guidance for you to succeed in this problem. This problem might take a little while to sink in. Start early on this. Reach out if you have any questions.